Hey yo guys, it's your boy Tachi. I hope the audio is all clear. I hope everything is all good. This is the first episode and I just want to get this out the way. The audio is going to be messed up throughout the whole episode. Not the entire episode. There's going to be points and pieces, but there's going to be like the first portion of this episode is you're going to hear on the left side. If you're playing it through the speaker, it shouldn't be that bad, but you're definitely going to hear the difference, and then you're going to hear it clear up, and then you're going to hear some static, you're going to hear some little stuff. I legit had to cut out some parts because it just sounded bad, and I said liners, and I'm so mad I had to cut it out. But nonetheless, though, hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. Next episode coming literally next week, same time. You already know. Let's get on with this because we're running into the minute, and I don't want it to be that long. Let's get started. Jeez Louise, we're gonna get this first episode started. Oh my god, the episode today, if you haven't read the title already, it's Impostor Syndrome, and how these podcasts are going to be typically set up. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give some facts, you know what I mean? I'm going to give my own personal view on how I see things, you know what I mean? Also get the facts with opinions, you know, both sides, stuff like that, just to help you better equipped for this whole thing. Because imposter syndrome is one of the most annoyingest, gosh darn, I have a lot of cuss words to say, but I'm trying not to cuss, but like, all that, and majority of the simple fact is that, whatever the fuck that meant, but simply put it, it's just something that like a lot of people need to like kind of go through, in all honesty, because if you don't go through it, you're not going to find out who you really are. If you don't find out who you really are, you're not going to be able to compete with this world at all, because at the end of the day, even bad people went through imposter syndrome, because every bad person thought they was good until they realized they wasn't, and then they just like, alright, you either go to one of each side. It's like, are you going to be a bad person trying to be good, or just a bad person? And I got you right there. Personally, I'm on this spectrum, but that's a whole nother story. You'll get more into like my deeper life and all that little fun stuff, because I'm gonna have a mix here, because I also have like a personal channel, that shameless plug, I'm gonna link in the description, all that fun stuff. But nonetheless though, let's get back to it with the facts. Because simply, overview of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fears being exposed as a fraud despite external evidence showing their success. All I gotta say is that much right there. You feel me? You can have having your little wins, but your little wins is like not enough to fucking overthrow your big losses, or like how people view you and stuff like that off of like, you know, how can I put this? Through like unfortunate circumstances and like misfortune, you know what I mean? To go on with it, symptoms include overworking, disregarding compliments, setting unrealistic expectations, often driven by personality traits like perfectionism. You know, as I always like to say is that I'm a recovering perfectionist, because at the end of the day, we all are a little bit in a sense, but when you look more deeper into that meaning of perfectionist and being a recovering perfectionist, it just adds a whole new light onto things, to where it's like, oh, be high, we're chilling. But to finish this up, coping strategy involves sharing feelings with others, questioning negative thoughts, and seeking professional help if feelings of unworthiness persist. So just get back to regular stuff. Get back to where we were going at, right? Always talk to somebody, but personally, this whole pod is really going to be about how you can do it without anybody else, without going to professional help, without like, you know, self-diagnosing yourself all that much, because you don't want to do all of that. You want to understand what could possibly be and what are the things to help get rid of it, you know, unless it's like some actual like sickness shit. Go to the fucking doctor. Go to the doctor. But nonetheless though, like, this whole pod, what I'm going, my whole goal is to really show you, you can do it by yourself, you can get through it by yourself. Because right now, I don't feel like the person that will do this type of podcast right now. But also on the other hand, because I just have this head, that makes me the perfect person to do this type of podcast. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm going through my own fucking trials and tribulations, shit like that. Like, I'm back in finding faith, back in walking with God, believing, praying, everything. And it feels like I'm an alien to it, you know what I mean? It feels like a different world, it feels like a whole different realm, but it's like, I've been there before, but I'm back in a different light, and that's what kind of like pushes me into that, you know, feeling like an imposter. But at the end of the day, if you're changing, you're not an imposter, if that makes sense. You're just becoming something that you was or have never been, or evolving into something else, if that makes sense. This whole podcast is going to be me saying if that makes sense a lot. Just get used to that. But there's this quote that I have been running repeatedly in my head, and I just saw it on Reddit. I'm just like chilling on Reddit, shit like that. Like, 93 days strong. No, 83. 83 days strong. Yeah. Yeah, if you on Reddit, you know. But nonetheless, though, it's this quote that like really hits home to where I'm like, all right, this is kind of like the perfect first pod to do this on, and just all around the perfect time to do it. Because how it goes is, if you're not confident to do it until you get the confidence. I completely butchered that, but that's along the lines, because I just remember something else. But it like actually goes like, don't do it if you don't. Well, no. Here goes the actual quote. Even though I'm not gonna lie, the way I said it was pretty fire, but this is also the same shit too. Don't wait until you're confident to show up. Show up until you're confident. Tight shit. But yeah, just essentially that. It's like, honestly, just do it, because you're gonna become the person regardless. Like, this sport that I do, I love the sport to death. It's called tricking. Tricking is not an easy sport whatsoever. It's like on the same level, if not the same as gymnasts. But I'm not gonna lie, we should start considering to train more like gymnasts. Personal opinion, not gonna lie. But depending on who you are, I'm taking that insane route. But nonetheless, though, going back to it, because I don't know why did I even say that. The sport I'm in essentially is like, you have to just do it to become the person that does it, because you can't just half-ass it, you know. Because doing this sport for 11 years now, which I'm low-key kind of like refreshing, starting, this has been the first year kind of easing back into it, because the last 4 or 5 has been but going back into it, it's like you have to just do it. And I've seen people that like do this sport but don't live this sport, you know what I mean? They don't have like the lifestyle, they don't get into like, well, I can't actually say that, because one thing I'm trying not to do a lot in this podcast is to talk about people in politics. Telling you straight up right now, I ain't gonna be so saying none of that. And if you say anything in the comments, just okay. But going back to it, I don't know how people go about it exactly, but I can see it through their movements, and I can just tell that like for a basketball player, no, from somebody who plays basketball, there's somebody who plays basketball and there's a basketball player. You feel me? Like, somebody goes to the court, somebody just have fun with it, you know what I mean? Then there's somebody who's trying to make it, trying to make a name for himself, trying to actually do it. I'm a tricker at heart. I'm trying to make a name for myself, and this whole road has been like trying to figure out where I fit into the community, where I fit when it comes to my what I've been doing when it comes to my training, just all the above. And that like all kind of wraps into like, just your self-worth essentially when it comes to how you go about things and how you take the trajectory of doing whatever you want to do. It's my perspective on the things. Now let's go into the next matter, because there's a very thing that I need to definitely kind of like talk about, which is expectations. Because expectations is kind of like the same thing as comparison, that kind of like coincide with imposter syndrome to make you kind of feel that way. But expectations kind of go in a deeper matter, which I'm going to speak about in a second. When it comes to just expectations as a whole, right? And I'm pulling up my notes right here. But when it comes to expectation as a whole, it's kind of, how can I explain it? It's more or less, not really up to you. It's always have an expectation for yourself, but be okay when it fails. You know what I mean? And try your best not to live up to anybody's expectation, even when their expectation of you is your expectations too. Ease back on the throttle. You know who you are. You definitely know who you are, because the whole saying goes, if you do, you do. You don't, you don't. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. And you're right on both ends. You know what I mean? So, like, give yourself that grace. Give yourself that nice little cushion, that nice little pillow to be like, yo, I'm human. At the end of the day, human. Fucking animals. Goddamn barbarians, some of us. But anyway, like, you're good. You know what I mean? And you can always come back. You always change. You always switch it up. By all means, like, you're just a horrible human being. I don't know what to tell you. But if you're a horrible human being, try to be the best being that you ever can be, aka a good being. That's good. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Because at the end of the day, I always love that in the TV show, because that's the person that will show the most growth. Perfect example, Frank Gallagher. If you ever see Shameless, that is development in that entire show, living up to his family expectation, completely botching that goddamn same expectation, and having the whole flip back and forth, being a good person, realizing things, going through like different beliefs, kind of negating old beliefs, like, demolishing big words, belief system and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're gonna get better with all that shit. But that whole up and down, left and right that he went through the entire show, he is unfortunately my favorite character because of the development. Like, whatever Joe Rogan said, I'd rather see the person be on their highest highs, go through some shit, be at the lowest lows, bring themselves back to the highest highs, and hey, if they go back through the shit, we already know that character finna come back. You know what I mean? We all love a good comeback story, but we all love a good story at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, nobody likes a nice little straight lane, straight path. Just, and I've been going through this entire year, which I've been just giving myself grace this entire year. This would have been my biggest lesson this year too, which I'm going to talk about that in another podcast, which is like giving yourself grace, but like giving myself grace this entire year too, because when you're in different environments, there is unfortunately going to be an expectation for you to have, especially at a job. That's like one of the biggest areas where you start to understand imposter syndrome. Because when I was a teenager, and I was doing shit at jobs. I wasn't the best, but when I was working as a kid, as a teen, like, yo, I did not give a. I'm like, good, whatever you say, that's cool, man. Good with it, mud, like, cause I knew I could switch up at any moment. But then when that shit hit me as an adult, I was like, nah, am I really this nigga? Cause I kind of did shit when I was a teen. Gotta stop cussing. I was like, am I really him? Like, wait. And I was like, wait, no. You good, mud. You bad moment. Oh, there's another thing too. I'm throwing another banger on top of whatever, all the little quotes I've been saying. Your lowest was their highest. So stop doubting the kid. Cause at the end of the day, it's really your life. You only know what you've done in your life. People are legit popping in for glimpses, you know. They're not there for the whole story. They're not there the entire time. They're not seeing late nights. Like, quite literally, I'll tell you just perfect example. Like, nobody ever see me laying in this very same room, looking up at the ceiling, thinking about everything, then getting up, doing workouts in the damn crib, doing a couple, doing what I can, doing very little, and even just getting up. No, I don't see that. No, I don't see you trying, mud. So you're good. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Whatever they say is legit noise. Because one big thing I'm noticing, which is helping me ease more back into like the social realm and trying to be more social, because I've been posting on my story and stuff like that, here and there, being little jokes, a little kitty, when I know everybody's expectation is for me to either post tricks or just like be active in general, you know. I know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing. That's it. One last thing before I leave you guys off, and that's reality. And this is kind of like bringing all what I just said together when it comes to expectations and how you see yourself when you're there and all. But like, reality is what you make of it. It sounds the same, especially in current world that we're living in right now. But one thing I'm realizing, I'm recognizing, I'm believing, and I'm trusting is I can shape my reality and help people shape their reality, and hopefully it kind of shapes up reality, you know what I mean? But like, at the end of the day, you guys can control this shit. If people are popping up with fucking goddamn group chats talking crazy and shit, not to throw no subs, but let them niggas do that. I keep cussing, but let them do that. Let them do that, because at the end of the day, it's going to get better, regardless of whatever, how anybody feels about it, good or bad. It's going to get better for the mass that wants things to be better. So you're good, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Focus on your reality. Focus on what you can do. Focus on what you want to do. And if that's find a good fight, you better fight that fight. But if that's worrying about your own shit, trying to get your own life together, taking it in, not trying to, like, you know, feel like, I gotta be a part of this, you good, mud. Because somebody is already doing it for you, and you gotta do what somebody can't do for themselves. That makes sense. You know what I mean? We're all helping each other at the end of the day. We're all interconnected. I'm not finna get into that conversation. That's a whole nother podcast. But nonetheless, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this very first episode, the Impostor episode. It's something that I'm kind of just honestly freestyling. So if you stayed towards the end, shout out to you, because I freestyled this entire shit besides like little notes and I was reading and all that fun stuff. But like, yo, we're doing this. Me and you, we're doing this right now. Whatever you've been putting off, do that right now, because that's overall was just going to help you get better with your imposter syndrome and like kind of not have it no more. Or well, you really can't have it no more, because no matter what you do, if you switch it up, if you start to change anything else, you're always going to have just a little bit of it. Unfortunately, when it comes to like mental disorders and just syndromes and all the fun stuff, you're still going to have it. That's one thing I'm realizing. Like, I still have my flaws, I still have my bad habits, stuff like that. They're going to just pop up regardless. But little steps: 10% Monday, 20% Tuesday, 100% Wednesday, 0% Thursday, 30 Friday, 50 Saturday, 60 Sunday. You know what I mean? It's, as long as you do it and keep going, you'll be alright. And that's why I'm just going to leave it off, because I'm terrible with outros.